Hello and welcome to the introduction to World of Tanks and some tips for some noobs out there who want to give this game a try. Maybe even some helpful things for those who are a little bit more experienced. Not going to get too much into the gameplay. This is what you'll see at the very beginning of the game. Very standard, goes over how to aim, how to move. I'm basically doing everything it tells you to do quicker than it tells you to do, so don't use this too much as a guide. Now, lovely thing to remember when you're doing this, look for the arrows, go to the arrows. This game overall, I thoroughly enjoyed. I've been playing it since 2013 on my main account, 2015 on my alt account that actually has more tanks unlocked. Now I'm going to fast forward the battle here because I don't want you to get any sneak previews on how to actually beat it. That is a challenge for you to accept. But I will give you the spoiler at the very end, which is you win. Now you are fighting against bots, so it's not that difficult. Point and shoot. It gives you a tank after your first battle. The first one you fought in was the M4, I believe, a tier 5 or tier 6 medium tank on the American line. Now this part here, click it, change reward. You do not want to go down the American line for your first line. German line, also not that preferable. The USSR line has better tanks for new players. At the end of this video I'll cover why you want to do that, because a lot of players make the mistake to go down the American line, and I find they end up stop playing because the tanks are difficult to deal with, especially in the early tiers. So we'll select the USSR line. You can click and drag and look at your tank from different angles, lots of fun, but let's go into battle. Now this is funny that they actually have text missing in these beginning battles. You don't have it later, but they do have them here apparently. I don't know if it's just a bad download for me or just happens. Now we're going to fast forward another battle. Again, lots of spoilers if you do see it. I'd rather you get a good clean impression of the game when you first play it. Battle this one, but overall teaches you a lot of good skills about flanking and everything else like that, and of course we win. Yay, victory. Alright, now we're on to vehicle improvement stage of the tutorial. Basically what this means is you can use experience to research modules. These modules are like engines, tracks, guns, turrets, all to improve the characteristics of the tank, but only to a certain point, and then you're on to researching the next tank. And so it just shows you in here, do this. Now, so you know, these like big pop-ups, module research, you don't get that when you actually get into the game, fully into it. They disappear after the tutorial pretty much. And so let's go into now the battle. There's that text not found again. Now this is an important part. Green marker, you can penetrate. Red marker, you cannot penetrate. There is a third one that you do not show. That's an orange marker. That's basically a 50-50 chance of penetration. Sometimes a little higher, sometimes a little lower. I usually take those shots if it's the only shot I have, and a lot of times it pans out for me. Now for more experienced players, if you don't have that set up yet, because it wasn't until last year that I found out this was even an option in World of Tanks without mod patch 0. I'll make the next video on a bunch of settings and features in World of Tanks that not all players know about, that you should make sure you have set up, at least that I prefer to have set up. So we're just going to finish up this battle. Again, not showing you anything, but here's the spoiler. We win by capping. Yes, they teach you how to cap. Definitely beneficial. And we get victory, we get credits, we get experience. So we're going to go forward. We're going to receive a new vehicle. Woohoo! Continue. Going to go up to the tech tree. This is what all the different tech trees look like. There's 11 or 12 of them, but you don't have full access yet. And then you go into it and you see that, oh, I can research the next vehicle. We'll research it. Again, big pop-up, you don't get that later. And so we'll continue forward again. We're going to buy it, get the crew 100%. That normally costs lots of gold, so generally that doesn't happen, but it gives it to us this time for free. Nice. And now we have our crew. We can go into our crew members and give them perks that improve the characteristics of the vehicle. There are many different kinds of skills and perks that you can get for your crew members, but there's only so many that are actually useful right off the bat. So we're going to go see more missing. This part here is actually quite important. If you're out in the open, you're going to get spotted. If you're behind a bush and shooting, you're going to get spotted. If you're concealed behind a bush not shooting, you're not going to get spotted. If you're hiding behind a building, you're not going to get spotted. Now, if you're behind a bush and you're falling back a ways, about 15 meters, and you shoot, you're not going to get spotted. So we're going to go into the second to last battle now. I'm going to fast forward it quickly and scribble it out, but I will give you the benefit of knowing how to finish this. Don't just try to destroy the last tank, just cap. Trust me, you won't be frustrated over and over again trying to finish that last one. Now we get a toolbox, consumables, high caliber, and all sorts of other metals. Lots of good stuff. What that toolbox does is it allows you to repair your tracks 25% faster, or other damage modules that get damaged during a battle. Consumables help you to repair or put out fires or heal crew members. All very useful and recommended to use on every tank you play with. You don't have to use the large stuff. In fact, I would suggest maybe even selling it to get credits at the beginning of the game, because you get a fair bit of them right off the bat, because they cost 20,000 each, whereas the small repair kits, first aid kits, and fire extinguishers only cost 6,000. The big difference between the large and the small, the large will, for example, if you have 3 crew members out and you use a large med kit, you will heal them all instantly. If you use a small, you can only heal one of them. Now, the chances of that happening are slim. Generally, you only lose them one at a time. So I recommend don't use the large one unless you absolutely have to, like you're trying to be competitive at like tournaments, clan wars, or stuff like that. In the top right, you're able to select what kind of battle mode you want to fight in, where there is random battles, a special event battle, skirmishes, frontline, and even training rooms on any map that you want. But for now, you won't have access to that, and so we're going to go into another battle, last one, but we're going to fast forward this battle again. This one says it's a random battle, but the truth is it's a bunch of random bots. You're not fighting any live players yet, so don't get full of yourself if you kill 8 to 9 tanks right off the bat. Like you see here, I killed 8, and I'm still over half health. That's not much of a realistic battle until you get better or get really lucky. So we have another victory, lots of credits, lots of experience, lots of medals, good times. It's going to introduce a couple more things. First one is gold. Gold can be used to buy premium tanks on the tech tree. It can be used to be converted into credits at 1 to 400. It can be used to convert free experience, which is experience gained on elite tanks, which are fully researched tanks. It can be converted to free XP, which can be then used on any tank you want. For those who have lots of the tech tree unlocked and play their regular tanks all the time, they gather up lots of free XP, and so they use the gold to convert it, especially when there are bonuses to conversion. You can get 35 to 40 times the conversion for experience, usually once every month or so. And then on to premium. This is premium time for a premium account. What it does is it gives you 1.5 times the experience, gives you 1.5 times the credits, gives you special missions to complete for bonds, but those are difficult to complete unless you have higher tiers, or are better because it requires you to rank high in the battle. Now we have a no sound video. Rock on, World of Tanks. We're going to skip through it, and now it says we have finished the tutorial. On to the good stuff. And that good stuff is, what tier 10s are you working towards? Now remember back towards the beginning of the video I said don't go towards the American or the German, do the Russian line. There's a reason for that, and I'm going to cover that now if you stay tuned. And now for the reason why you don't want to do the American line, the T110E5. This tank is actually pretty decent with excellent gun handling and pretty good DPM, but its cupola on the top is an extremely weak point for just about anybody to penetrate, so it's hard to go hull down. Also, the hull is pretty soft, so it's also hard to overall just brawl with a tank. So it's a pretty situational type tank that I would recommend for more experienced players. Now for the second tank, the German tank, the Maus. This is one of the most heavily armored tanks in the game, second to the Type 5 Heavy on the Japanese line. This tank packs a pretty good punch, pretty good damage per minute. However, it does have a few weak points that are exploited quite quickly when players start dabbing the 2 key to load premium ammunition which has higher penetration. If you are able to work with the angling of the armor and counting people's shots, then you can actually pull off really good games, but for somebody who's just starting out, I don't recommend working towards this tank. Now on to the Russian line. This is the Object 277. This is actually a Clan Wars competitive meta tank. It is used all the time. It has speed like a heavy medium. It has pretty good damage per minute and is also able to bounce a lot of shots off of its front plates. Now it does have some drawbacks, mostly dealing with the gun itself, but overall, if you are able to work with it, it does actually do a fantastic job, and it has a pretty high average win rate on the servers as well. And so this is a tank I would recommend for a new player, but the next tank I would recommend even more. This is the IS-7. It has been in the game since they introduced the tier 10s. It has excellent sloped armor on the front, bouncing many shots unless they're loading premium ammunition. Also, its turret is near impenetrable unless they're shooting high explosive rounds. It's excellent at getting around, not as good or fast as the 277 for getting around, but it does get around, and is very forgiving if you do make a mistake, as many people tend to bounce this even broadside. This one I would definitely recommend for anybody who's looking to get into the game and get into a tier 10 that allows them to learn and make some mistakes along the way. And with that, hope you subscribe and like this video. There will be more coming out on many different games. Alright, and now for that competition that I had started last week. We got the Scorpion G about to get hit by this 60 TP, and here comes the shot. 1003 damage. So, Rocky, you are the winner. I'll get that gold sent over to your account right away. Check out next week's video for the next competition.